welcome back to another week of Deducation, the Teachers Talking Terror podcast, where myself, Mike,
and myself, Courtney,
are going to be talking about another scary movie, one from my childhood. And speaking of childhood, we're bringing in another special guest this week, Mr. Jealousy, because his sister got to be on the show last week. Got Mr. Lucas on. Say hi to everybody, Lucas.
Hi.
Yeah, he's full of energy and excitement. He's a little nervous. Hopefully he warms up as we go. So, we watched Critters from 1986, I believe. Yeah, 1986's Critters. Kind of a low-budget little fun flick. One that, Courtney, agree or disagree, I think is suitable for children.
Yes.
It's fairly safe. I think it was maybe it was last fall that I decided I was going to start exposing my kids to some safe horror films. And this was one that I wanted to showcase, and it's one that Lucas here really likes. Did you like the movie, buddy?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, don't give it a grade yet, because that's coming up. So we got Lucas here, and we're going to talk about Critters. You've seen it how many times, buddy?
3.
3 times. Again, don't forget, look right up at the camera. Yeah, you've seen it 3 times already, twice in the last 48 hours. He wanted to be prepared, though. He wanted to be ready for Critters. So, Courtney, how does this movie start off?
There is like a prison with these aliens known as Krites, and they're, I guess you could, like, they're just being transported, sent to another place, and they had to kill a couple of them because they were eating through everything. But they hijacked the ship and kind of took off and took over from there.
Yeah, like they start out on an asteroid. It's like,
yeah,
I mean, it's like about as science fiction-y as one can get. It always cracks me up in science fiction movies, though, how everybody still spoke English. But whatever. But yeah, they've got this, I don't know, this globule-looking prison warden, but you're right.
Yeah.
Like, we don't see the Krites yet. We just know that they are basically extremely dangerous, and like you said, they jump on a ship and escape. I guess you leave your keys in the ship on your asteroid prison.
Yeah.
I don't know, but did you like how this movie started, buddy?
Yeah.
What did you at this point? What did you think the Krites were going to look like? Did you think they were going to be big monsters or what? Like, you haven't. I know you've seen the movie 3 times. But what did you think the critters were like? These like super dangerous prisoners. What did you think they're going to be like?
Big.
Yeah, they're going to be big. So, but we don't see them yet. Well, we do see them leave, and they're headed towards Earth.
Yes.
And then we cut to Kansas. Well, actually, no. They send a couple of bounty hunters after them.
Yeah, and they're like shapeshifters.
Yeah. Did you catch the name of the bounty hunters?
No.
Ugg and Lee. Yeah. Yeah, the bounty hunters' names are Ugg and Lee.
Okay.
And they've got these, like, glowy faces.
Yeah.
But, like you said, they're kind of shapeshifters, and that they get a really fast history lesson on what Earth is on their way to Earth, and then they need to, their faces need to take Earth, like, human form so they can, quote-unquote, fit in. So the first bounty hunter that changes, Lucas, what is he watching on the little TV that gets him to change?
Band?
Yeah, he's watching, it's like a music video, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's the name of the song? It's your favorite song in the whole world.
What's not?
Well, what's the name of it?
Power of the Night.
Power of the Night by Johnny Steele. A song that plays, I think on every radio 24 hours a day in this movie. It is constantly playing. And so, yeah, we like that song a little bit, just because it's goofy. You catch yourself singing it sometimes? Yes, you do. I don't tell you to sing it. You were laying there the other day singing Power of the Night. The streets are calling. But the other bounty hunter, his face won't like it won't accept anything yet. Now we cut to Kansas.
Yes.
When the bounty hunters are in the ship, they were watching the music video, and then one of them changed into Johnny Steele.
Right, yeah. So one of them looks like Johnny Steele, and one of them still looks like a glow-in-the-dark tennis ball.
Yeah. And it's morning in Kansas. They're doing what any, I feel like, stay-at-home mom family would do, or a stay-at-home parent. Like, she's made this really nice breakfast for them, and they're getting ready to eat. Bus comes, and it's just like...
Yeah.
That just kind of cuts it off. Like, she is, I'm sure, how most mothers feel. Like, oh yeah, thanks for the nice breakfast you put together for us, Mom. Like,
well, here's my thing. If you're a stay-at-home mom and you insist on making breakfast for your family every morning, which is amazing, why are you getting breakfast on the table 15 seconds before the bus shows up?
yes.
Like, you should know the routine by now, and like, get your kids up earlier so they eat breakfast. It seems like these kids wake up at 35 seconds before school starts, and they all they all share one bathroom, and Mom is getting breakfast on the table mere moments before they have to leave.
Like, both of the kids sit down and they don't even get to take a bite, and they already have.
Off to school, Mom. I'm going to be hungry all day. Thank you.
Yep.
That might be my educational lesson for the end. If you're making breakfast for your kids, give them time to eat it. And so she's making breakfast. Go ahead.
And it skips to, after they're off, it skips to the jail.
Yeah.
And they've got this Charlie in there, which he's kind of like the town clown, I guess you could say. And he's sleeping it off from the night before. And he is saying, like, he's got this, like, I don't know, a sixth sense almost. Like,
he gets signals in his teeth.
Yeah, it is just really weird. Like, he knows that someone is going to be coming.
Yeah, he's all about...
There was like an abduction type thing.
He's all for it. The aliens, they're coming.
Yeah.
They're giving me signals, they're coming.
Yeah. And so kids are home from school. We find out that Charlie works for the Brown family, and he is not doing his job, but he's playing with the kid. And Brad's he's a pretty good little engineer type, making the fireworks and stuff. I was pretty impressed.
I wonder if that's going to come back later.
I was very impressed with that.
I will say this though, the runtime in this movie is short. It's like 85 minutes. It's just under an hour and a half. And I give a lot of respect to the filmmakers of cutting out the fluff. Like, the kids leave for school, but then they don't show any of the school day. And I'm fine with that because that didn't matter. They cut out the school day. They cut out what Mom and Dad are doing all day. They just cut right back to... Basically, they send the kids to school so that we have a reason to cut to Charlie in jail, which he's not really in jail because he's a prisoner. Yeah, he's in jail because they're just letting him sleep it off. So I really did like that decision from the filmmakers of, we could show them in school, but what's the point? Like,
exactly. It doesn't feed anything into...
unless a critter were to show up at school, but it doesn't, so... Let's move forward. I like
all the critters are already at their house.
That's right. Go ahead. Tell us about the critters a little bit. Like you said, they're at the house. When did they land? Well, actually, what happened? Okay, because Courtney, you were saying, he had the firework. He's making fireworks.
Yeah, and he had a slingshot. Lucas, do you remember who he shot with that slingshot?
Who did Charlie shoot with the slingshot?
His sister.
The sister.
And
right in the booty.
And Brad lied that he shot his sister.
Right, because he didn't want Charlie to get in trouble.
What would Ella do if you shot her with a slingshot? You think would she chase you like April did to Brad?
Well, she would try to chase you, but she's so out of shape she wouldn't get very far, would she? No. She would just, Lucas, you come over here. So what kind of punishment then, Lucas? How do they punish Brad?
Sending him up to his room, but then that's when he snuck out of his room when it was bedtime, and then he saw the ship.
That's right.
Oh,
Yeah.
the asteroid.
Well, yeah, it was the ship. So they send him to his room without supper, which he goes upstairs and turns on Power of the Night. Needless to say, when April and her new boyfriend, when he's dropping her off from school, Power of the Night's playing on the radio. It's songs everywhere. It's everywhere.
Like, they don't play any other songs.
No, not really.
Power of the Night.
And so, they send Brad to his bedroom without supper. He sneaks out.
Goes to his mom and dad's bedroom, but then
Right. Yeah, because April and her boyfriend stayed for supper, and then April and her boyfriend left because he was going to give her a ride in his car. Where did they go, though?
The barn.
They went to the barn, and what were they doing in the barn, buddy? Were they kissing? Yeah. Yuck. Yuck. So, and I think that's what got Charlie's attention, is because he heard the car leave, and he looked out the window and saw they just went to the barn. So then he climbed out his window, and he was standing outside his dad's bedroom window, and that's when the ship came, because they both saw the ship come. All right.
And then one of the critters snuck in the barn and...
Oh, not yet. We'll get to that. We stay in order on this show, buddy. We got to do things in order, but when we get to that point for sure.
Lucas, do you remember what Charlie shoved in his pockets? The fireworks that he was going to go play a prank on his sister.
Brad.
Or Brad, yeah, not Charlie. Sorry, Brad. No wonder you didn't remember it, Charlie.
The alcohol bottles is what Charlie shoved in his pocket.
Yeah. Brad was heading out to play a prank on April, and then when the meteorite lands, that's when they head outside.
Yeah, Brad and his dad went to go check it out. And what did they find at the crash site?
One of the critter bubble things.
And what else? What animal was there that was all eaten up? You don't remember? It was one of their cows. Remember, it was laying there and it was all like eaten up from...
Yeah.
Well...
It was dark.
Yeah, it was dark. But the critters were hungry, and they pretty much ate this entire cow.
Yeah. Everything except the horns and, like, the face.
Right. We also, kind of a little side story, we've also got, like, the police department in town.
Yeah.
Which has got your, like, police chief. I don't think he's the sheriff, because it's not county. You got your police chief, and you got, like, one other, like, late-night cop. And because this happens at night, this police officer, he sees it as well and goes to investigate. And the critters, remember, what do they do to this cop?
Bite him?
Yeah, they bite him. You know, they're kind of hiding under his car, and they kill him and drag him underneath. And then...
But then one of the bounty hunters come and form into him.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
The bounty hunters show up.
Yeah, and he's looking a little rough because he's got like his torn up face on.
Yeah, he transforms into the dead face version of the cop. The critters now they've attacked the farm. They've cut the electricity. Basically, they just eat everything. But the Browns don't know that they're there yet. The power just goes out. And so Jay, the dad, he goes to check the circuit breaker. And what's downstairs?
Critter.
Yeah, a critter. And so he gets attacked because he's like just down in the cellar. Dad gets attacked by a critter. He gets eaten up quite a bit. I mean, not literally eaten up, but he takes a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Gets shot by one of their quills, they seem like tranquilizer type quills.
Uh-huh.
And so the Browns are, something's up. They're under attack. Cut to April and Steve in the barn. And now you can share. What happens to Steve?
One of the critters sneak in there and chew him up, and then he dies.
Yeah, like eats his stomach.
But then they just
Yeah.
leave him in there.
Yeah. They just, they're not going to take Steve out.
Yeah.
Like April doesn't even care anymore.
Well, I think she cares. She's just afraid. I don't think she broke up with him. One of my favorite little jokes is when April and Steve are kissing in the barn, and then the meteor lands, and April just pulls away, and she goes, "The Earth just moved," and he looks at her and goes, "Already?" I just found that very funny. Steve gets taken out, and so April is still in the barn.
And Brad.
Brad comes to rescue her.
Yeah, and what does he feed the critter?
Go ahead, bud.
When April's there trying to attack the critters, she has a,
Pitchfork.
yeah, and trying to scrape them, but then the critter just bites the sharp part off.
Yeah, he just bites the handle off.
He just ate it, and it's bigger than he is.
But Brad knows that she's out in the barn because he saw April and Steve park there. So Brad heads over to the barn, climbs up into the hay rack, and what does he throw at the critter? Does he throw a rock at it?
Yeah.
Does he throw meatloaf at it?
No.
Or does he throw one of his fireworks at it?
Fireworks.
Yeah, it throws one of its fireworks. And what does the critter do when he throws a firework at it?
Rolls away.
Well, it eats the firework.
Oh.
Swallows it.
And I thought,
Go ahead.
I thought for sure, I was like, man, these things are indestructible. It ate it, and then it was just the smoke went out. But then it was seconds later, it kind of
fell over sideways.
Exploded a little bit and just boop, fell over.
I know, it did give it oh man, a fireworks knife.
Yeah,
this thing.
yeah.
And so the Browns are now all gathered together in the main house. So they're trying to fight their way back into the main house.
Yeah.
They've got a gun because Dad's all busted up. Brad and April and Mom are trying to fight off the critters. Mom is using the shotgun like a broom, and it's just kind of hitting at the critters instead of shooting at the critters. She does end up shooting one, and we get subtitle we get an F-bomb from one of the critters as a subtitle.
Yeah.
That I hide your eyes from it every time we watch it because I know it's coming. And then we basically cut back to the bounty hunters.
Yeah, and they are now crashing into
The church.
Whatever evening service this church is having.
Late night service.
And they're talking to the police officer because he looks like the police officer, and then he takes form of the pastor
right there in front of the pastor.
Yeah, and it's oh my goodness, what is happening now?
That lady faints and just falls onto the piano.
Yeah. And they've got these bazooka cannons that just one blow and it's just the whole room's done.
Right. All Johnny Steele knows how to say is, "We want the Krites."
Yeah.
We want the Krites. Of course, nobody knows what they're talking about yet.
No. And then they head on over to
the Bolorama Lane.
The bowling alley.
And the police chief shows up at the church
mm-hmm.
right after they leave. I love it too because the police chief shows up and they're trying. The one lady's trying to describe what they look like, and she goes, "They look like they're from Los Angeles."
Yeah, their outfits. They had on really weird outfits.
Yeah, they look like they're from Los Angeles. They're all just dressed in leather. They definitely don't fit this small town Kansas thing.
No, they don't. And at the bowling alley, Lucas, do you remember who the one bounty hunter turned into there?
He went in and the guys were bowling. What does Johnny Steele? He picks up a bowling ball and what does he do with it?
Throw it.
He
And
throws
then
it
he
at the
cracks all the pins.
Yeah, he blows up the pins with his bowling ball. He just throws it down the lane. And then they
And the
go
other
into a little bar
guys.
area, and who's sitting at the bar still trying to tell him that the aliens are coming? Charlie does, right? And there's a bunch of goons there playing pool, and they're trash talking the bounty hunters, which, when Johnny Steele picks up the bartender, lifts him off his feet, and then the other one that now looks like the pastor, who does he look at and change into? Charlie.
Yeah. I like the part where they're like, wonder whose team he's on.
Right. It just blows up the pin.
Yeah.
This movie is kind of funny. Like,
it was funny.
Yeah, it doesn't overdo it, but it just lays in some like scene-ending one-liners that are just kind of comical.
Yeah. And Charlie here is like, oh my goodness, like this is what I've been hearing in my teeth.
I was right. I've been telling everybody all along. You guys haven't been listening.
So now we fast forward back to the Browns, and they're held up in the house.
Right.
They've got no phone lines, no nothing. And I also really liked when they're going through Brad's room and they get to the little E.T. doll.
Yeah.
And the critter's like, who are you? And they just kind of like butt heads a little bit.
Because they're downstairs and they're kind of, they've got things fairly well fortified, but then they see dust coming down from the chimney and they realize the flue's open. And then one busts in through the window and shoots a quill at Mom, and she like passes out instantly.
And her neck is already swelled up in like 5 seconds.
Right. So she gets tagged. So now Mom and Dad are really no help at all. And they retreat upstairs and lock themselves in a bedroom. And this is where we just get this little montage of what all the aliens or all the critters are doing. One of them's like eating the fish out of an aquarium. One of them's having that heart-to-heart with E.T.
One of them's just ripping up the pillow.
Yeah, they're just shredding, Brad's bed. And Brad did kill another one before they retreated upstairs because it was making its way through the couch cushion, and he has the rifle ready, but he steps on the broomstick and falls, but shoots the ceiling fan, and the ceiling fan lands on top of it, and that kills it. I don't know. I found that a little hard to believe. Like,
they don't take much to kill.
Right.
If you can, I feel like if you can just smack them on the head.
If you can do it accidentally, because it's like we just watched a critter jump through the window. Like, that takes some force too. But whatever. Again, it's science fiction. We shouldn't take it seriously.
That's right.
So they're trapped in the bedroom, and they see, buddy, what is one of the critters outside doing? Is he staying the same size as the rest of them? No, he's turning into this like giant critter.
Yeah. And this is when they're like, we need help. And Brad steps up and he's like, I'll ride my bike. And he's going to go to the neighbor's house.
Yeah, or he's going to head to the highway because they live off the highway.
Yeah. And he jumps out and he can't get his bike. What's at his bike, Lucas?
Critter.
Yeah.
A
Almost
critter.
taunting him. Like, he just, it's right there at his bike and just knocks his bike towards him. Like, here you go.
Yeah. And so he runs to the highway and he gets picked up by the police.
Which turns out to be Johnny and Charlie.
Yeah, and Charlie 2.0. And he's like, we've got to go to my house. And they're like, where?
We want the Kreitz.
Where? And it's just like, oh my goodness.
You know where we live.
He's not understanding. Yeah, and then finally they're like, where? And he's like, you guys aren't from around here, are ya?
Just drive.
So they make it, and it was like, I'll help you if you help me.
Right.
And then he starts driving backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're not very good drivers.
No, not at
all. So they get to the farm, and this is where. Is this where they had kidnapped April?
Yeah. They get to the farm, and they blow their way into the house because that's the only thing they know how to do. They don't open doors. You even made that joke watching it. Like, they never open the door. They just blow their way through it. But yeah,
Ella's lesson from last week.
The giant Krite had like busted through like the dresser and was trying to grab April, but Dad had a blowtorch, or he had like a aerosol can and a lighter and like burnt it and let her go. But yeah, when they came down, they all came downstairs, but then Brad heard his cat upstairs and went back up to get the cat. The policeman shows up, and so Brad's upstairs. The bounty hunters are making their way through the house, taking care of some of the other critters. And then when they all reconvene outside, because they all were supposed to be waiting in the police car, that's when when Brad and the bounty hunters get back, that's when they're like, yeah, they took April. Which I don't know why, but whatever. And so, yeah, they were dragging her what apparently looked like several miles to their ship. And so, yeah, Brad, let's see, what was it? The bounty hunters basically they destroy the house. They blow up the barn. And then they get in the police car, but it doesn't start. So then they climb in with the cop.
Yeah.
So you got Mom and Dad in the back seat, the bounty hunters and the cop in the front seat. Brad has his bike and he's taken off after April and the critters, because there's only 6 of them that landed. So I think they're just down to the one, the giant one. And so, yeah, Brad and Charlie run into each other in the middle of a field, in the middle of nowhere on their bikes, whatever. But they've got a plan of, hey, I'm going to get on this ship and I'm going to get April back and we'll see if we can blow up the ship.
So when Charlie and Brad managed to meet up, which it's like, you never know where Charlie's going to be.
Oh.
I feel like he's always in the wrong place at the wrong time. But yeah, so they dropped a firecracker on there it had destroyed, and Ugg and Lee gave a little gift to Charlie.
Brad,
yes. I keep getting them mixed up. And they're like, call us when you want to.
Yeah.
Call us, yeah. And I was like, what? How are you going to reach each other? But
Charlie
it is science fiction.
Yeah, Charlie chases them down wanting... You got another one of those?
Yeah. And they leave, and this little thing that Brad has, it's like beeping, and Lucas, what did it do to the house when he
Press the button.
Yeah.
At the end of the movie, when the house was all destroyed, and then Brad presses that button.
It all comes back.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, they rebuilt everything, and they showed it all too. It didn't just show up. You obviously could tell that they had filmed it being torn down and then just played it in reverse. But it still was pretty cool effect.
When I looked at the house, I thought it looked kind of new.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, it looked really nice,
including putting the curtains back up.
Yeah, and you go through the house, you go through everything's nice, but Lucas, what is left at the end of the movie?
Yeah, the policeman drives away, and then the camera follows, and what does it stop on?
3 eggs in the barn.
Yeah. Three eggs that start laughing.
Yeah.
Just to let us know they were critter eggs and not like goose eggs or chicken eggs. So do you think there's any more critter movies, buddy?
Yeah.
How many more critter movies do you think there are?
I remember you telling me this yesterday. I think it was 6?
4. There are 4 total Critter movies.
Wow.
And guess who the bounty hunters are in all 4 movies?
Ugg and Lee.
Yep, Ugg and Lee, played by Johnny Steele and Charlie. They're the only actors that are in all 4 of them.
Did they just stay in that same
Probably. They probably just kept
formation?
they just kept their clothes and said, "Don't get rid of these boys. We're gonna make more." So, and that's Critters. That's the end of Critters. They the Brown family survives completely intact. Apparently, when they blew up the barn, Steve's body was just incinerated, so no worries there. But yeah, the police officer, I guess, was left dead on the side of the road when the bounty hunters took his car into his face. But that's okay. That's okay. Because Brad's got a little button that can make everything go back to the beginning. So that is Critters. What was your favorite part of the movie, buddy?
When they got rid of all the critters and stuff.
Yeah, when the big fight at the end when they were getting rid of all the critters. Yeah. Good deal. Shall we grade it?
Yes.
Let's do it. Courtney, what grade do you give this thing?
I'm giving this one an A. It was funny. It had the gore. It didn't really have the jump scares, but being not a lot of science fiction-y movies do have jump scares. Right. But in place of that, there was a lot of action.
Yeah. And the movie just clicks right along. There's really no dull spot. Every scene they film has a purpose. It may not pay off immediately, but it does eventually show up and have a purpose. So good. An A. Wow. I'm also going to give it an A. I watched this movie a lot growing up. I really do think it's, with the exception of the one F-bomb in the subtitles, it really is a great entry-level horror film for kids. It's safe. There's blood, but not a lot of bloodiness. The language is fairly tame. There's a young kid as your main character, so the kids can relate to it. I just think overall this is a good one. I really like this movie. I give it an A. What are you going to give it, buddy?
A.
How come?
I just like the whole movie.
Yeah, well, you've seen it 3 times, so you like movies like this? Yeah. What other movies have we watched that kind of are, they're not super scary, but they're still kind of, you would call them scary movies?
I forgot what.
Tremors we watched?
Tremors.
Monster Squad. You remember that one? It's got Dracula and Frankenstein and the Wolfman.
That one was a little more scary.
Yeah, that one was a little scarier, but I watched that a lot growing up too, so.
But it's not like you're gonna have nightmares.
Right. Because again, it's just Frankenstein and the Mummy, so it's not that big a deal. So 3 A's all around. Good deal. Do you know how they made the critters, buddy? Did they look like they were CGI? Or did they look like they were really there?
No. Probably.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that they were real, but I mean, did they look like they added them later on the computer, or did they look like the actors were actually in the same scene with the critters?
They added them later?
No, they didn't add them later. They were puppets.
They look like Furbies.
Yeah, they did.
Which, Lucas, you probably don't know what that is.
No, he doesn't have a clue. The special effects group...
then how were they, rolling around and stuff?
Puppets.
Yeah, but all the critters had their faces, and then how did they, roll them up and start rolling them?
They had some that were made like balls, and they just rolled them.
So they switched them out?
Yep, they switched them out a lot. The Chiodo Brothers was the name of the special effects group. And they've done quite a bit. One of their big claims to fame is Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I love that movie so much. It's a lot like Critters in that it's funny and a little goofy and moves right along and is just completely ridiculous and unbelievable. What makes it fun though? But yeah, the Chiodo brothers are responsible for that cult classic, Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Which I don't like clowns, so I don't.
No, I think you'll be okay with these. These clowns don't even look like. You don't like clowns that look like humans as clowns. These clowns they don't even look like clowns. I don't know, they're actually
Outer
aliens.
space
They're
clowns.
aliens. They just happen to look like clowns.
Maybe it's critters that put makeup on.
Might be. The Chiodo brothers have one. They just have one puppet. They just
Yeah.
put different things on it. So, what educational lesson, Courtney, would you layer on this movie?
I get that this is I don't even want to say controversial, but this is like to each their own kind of. But the dad shut down Brad's like fireworks and slingshot so quickly, and like Brad was just trying to be creative. Now I get slingshots are dangerous, or fireworks are dangerous. So yeah, I wouldn't want my children playing with them either. But it's like he confiscated everything from him, and it's like I just feel like it's important to let your kids have that outlet. Of whatever they like to do. I understand that fireworks are dangerous, but maybe under supervision, like letting them do it.
Yeah, there's a lot of science there.
Yes, and it's like because not everyone can make those,
No.
and he makes like you said, like he makes the best in the state. I mean, he had mentioned
Yeah.
I don't think he
I don't think there
actually
was an
entered
actual,
it.
like,
Yeah.
Kansas State fireworks show.
Yeah. But, I mean, like, he's proud of it. It's something he likes, and it's like, it's going to keep him out of trouble, hopefully, if you're open about it. So I just think, like, not shutting your kids' hobbies down just because they might be a little dangerous. Like, make sure they know all the safeties and things about that.
I agree. I like that. I'm gonna piggyback on that a little bit, and especially in this day and age where a lot of parents and guardians struggle with kids not being outside. They're always on a device. They're always connected. And it's like, here's Brad Brown that, yes, it's the 80s, so they don't have any of that technology. However, he wants to be outside and experiment and play. And so, you know, I think it's important as, you know, when you see your kid gravitating a certain direction, encourage it, because not all learning, well, let me start that sentence over. All learning is never supposed to occur just in school. And so hands-on stuff and letting kids explore and do their own thing, I mean, that's pretty much the whole basis of what 4-H is. So, you know, give your kids a chance. If you see something they're interested in, just because, like you said, it may have a little bit of danger to it, or it may not be something as a parent you enjoy, this isn't about you. That's, you know, having kids isn't about the parent. It's about raising the child. And so, give the kid a chance. You know, go out there, learn from him, let him teach you. Maybe you can offer some suggestions, and you never know what else that kid's going to be interested in. But it's a good thing that Brad was into fireworks, or else the Browns would have been down a parent or a child. Lucas, do you have anything to add? No? So, and parents, like I said earlier, make breakfast early enough that your kids have time to eat. Right.
And don't send them to bed without supper when they already didn't get breakfast that morning.
Exactly. This was the same day, and Mom did fight for that.
And
Mom
went to school and only ate lunch that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was school lunch to boot. We have fantastic.
I was gonna say we are lucky.
Yeah, I'm not bashing it as a.
Even though they didn't even show them going to school and they never left the house.
Well, yeah, they cut back to the end of the day. So, did you find there were any scary parts in the movie, buddy? No, but you did like it. Well, obviously you gave it an A. So, yeah, that's good though. I'm glad you were on the show. Did you have fun?
Yeah.
I know you're nervous. You're probably still a little nervous, aren't you? Are you bored? You can say yes if you are. Okay. And so, Courtney, do you have? We're going to go back to regular scheduled without guests for next week. Is there anything you've been wanting to watch?
No, not that I can think of.
Shuffling?
Yeah.
All right, let me pull it up really quick. So we have. I did tell Ella she can come back at the end of April to cover season 2. And so she's actually watching Megan right now with her cousin. She'd not seen it. Neither one had seen it. And so Ella's been wanting to watch it, though. So let's go to genre.
Can I spin the thing?
Yep. All right. I'm going to shift you over. Give it a tap. All right. Ooh. I'm going to leave this one up to you. It's based on a Stephen King movie. It's called Thinner, but it is about a gypsy curse.
That's okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Because I know you don't care for them. I'll admit, I've not seen this movie.
Oh, well, then we have to watch it.
So next week we will be watching Stephen King's adaptation of the book, or the story, Thinner. It came out in 1996. This is it. From what I've heard, it's the middle of the pack, kind of. I don't think it's great.
Okay.
But I don't know. See, because the guy that directed it, I really like. Tom Holland, not to be confused with the actor Tom Holland, who is playing Spider-Man. Tom Holland directed The Beast Within, which I like. No, he didn't. He wrote it. He wrote The Beast Within that I like. He made his directorial debut on a vampire movie called Fright Night. He wrote and directed the original Child's Play with Chucky. And then there's this movie. So I do like his movies. Class of 1984, Psycho 2. I'm going to give it a chance. I'm not going to go in. I don't think it does. It definitely does not have the reputation of some of the higher budgeted, better received Stephen King movies like Carrie or The Shining or movies like that. I'm going to go in fun because I think Tom Holland's movies are a lot of fun. So yeah, we're going to cover Stephen King's Thinner for next time. I won't even say next week because we're on spring break. You had mentioned last week at school that if we wanted to knock out a couple episodes, we can. So I've been pumping through movies. Ella had said this morning, she goes, "How many movies are you going to watch?" I'm like, I don't know.
That you talking about right then does make me think I do want to watch Chucky.
Nope.
Or A Child's Play. I've because I thought it was actually called Chucky.
That's fair enough. We could do that. Then our next two, we could cover Thinner and go right into another Tom Holland blockbuster in Child's Play. Fine with me. So,
okay.
But yeah, I say we'll cover Thinner, and we'll get together sometime soon and get that one knocked out. Otherwise, though, you have anything to send us off with?
If you're on spring break, enjoy it.
No kidding, I am for sure. Are you enjoying it? Well, today's better. You've gotten sick the last 2 days. Today's not too bad. So, well, for another episode of Deducation, I'm Mike.
And I'm Courtney.
You can catch us social media-wise at the links down below, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And be sure to join us next week when we talk about Thinner. You guys have a good rest of your week.
Bye.